Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Tony Stark Iron Man issue 13. And I really enjoyed this issue. It really just focused on Tony fighting Sadarang and just wrapping up that conflict. And I just liked all the little references that were put throughout and how the fight actually went. I always like when Tony is put up against some kind of magical foe because it's usually kind of out of his element, and it's really kind of cool to see how he usually tackles that kind of situation and what he really needs to do. So we start off and we see that Sadarang is in his human form and has made it to Wall Street, and he starts having a conversation with pretty much a homeless man outside, and he starts warning Sadarang about his greed and everything, saying, hey, I was an ace broker myself, and tells him about how much money goes through there with like a market cap of 30 trillion. And this number even surprises Sadarang, being like, there's no number like that. And he's, of course, being warned about his greed. And Sadarang actually listens to this lowly mortal, and he thinks that he might be a seer potentially, and tosses him some gold and tells him to shut up, or he was going to come back and like kill him. So he goes off, he tries to get in, and of course has to deal with the guard, and that's where we shift back over to Tony, Rhodey, and Bethany as they're trying to figure out what's going on, as Tony is leaking magic. We come to find out that all the things that we were seeing in the previous issue was essentially Sadarang's presence kind of warping and infecting all tech, which is an interesting concept that I would like to see explored more at some point in anything, where he's not even doing anything. His presence just starts setting off all those kind of things, which kind of lines up with what we've been seeing in Doctor Strange, where we're seeing the kind of fusion of tech and magic in there as well. But it takes Tony's armor and doesn't turn it into a bomb or anything, but changes it into like a medieval kind of Doctor Strange armor. And it was actually pretty cool looking. I really like the design for it, and would like to see something like that pop up again some point. But he's trying to figure out how to use it because, of course, it's more magic than tech at this point. And he tries to use it because he's thinking, hey, magic's just another system, kind of like code. Tries to use his repulsors and makes it rain frogs. Of course, Rhodey's trying to talk him to get out of that suit, and he's about to, but he sees, of course, the dead people. He's like, nope, I'm not doing this. I need to go and deal with this. And I also like the line where he's talking about that metaphysics is his kryptonite. And that's not the only DC kind of reference that we get. So that was kind of cool. I know that there's been crossovers with Marvel and DC, but they haven't really done much lately with that. So I'm like, okay, does that mean that I'm just cool to see what it'll shake out to, if there's like, oh, DC Comics exists in the Marvel universe, or of course they've got more awareness of the DC multiverse as a whole, since multiverses are a big thing. I just kind of like that. So he flies off. He's trying to get in contact with Janet because he needs help, because he's dealing with everything that's been going on, and of course regrowing himself and everything with the alcohol and the escape, and he's kind of trying to fight this, but he's able to get into Wall Street and sees him there, calling him Falcor. So I'm like, yeah, never ending story, good one there. And he's just pretty much berating Stark and everything as he's trying to do his best to use his magic armor. I liked him turning on the light. He's like, let me try the most crazy ass spell name that I can do. And he does it. He's able to have a light. He's like, that shouldn't have worked. Okay. But he's not really doing very well against Sadarang because he doesn't have complete control of his armor. And of course, he's berating him for everything that's gone on and everything with Yocasta and being a drunkard and everything, and be spoiling himself at the first chance. And he's got him pretty much in a lock, but he's like, hey, my hands are free puffing stuff, and uses the frog spell on him, and he's got all the frogs in his mouth and he's choking on him. Like, yeah, that works out pretty well. It falls in line with kind of magical things that you've usually seen before, and also against dragons. I remember something like that actually happening. also kind of fits in with Ron Weasley kind of puking up slugs. But he's come up to this point and figured out that he's infecting tech and all that, and is getting back to Stark Unlimited. Tells Rhodey and everybody to take away that plan and just kind of make it Dark Ages. Make sure that all tech is off. Oh, we also got another kind of cool reference is Shazam when he was fighting Sauron. I'm like, yeah, that's a nice one there. Ooh, because he called him a wizard with the Shazam thing. I'm like, ooh, another good, nice DC connection. So he's able to get back there. He hooks up with Janet, and he's like, all right, yeah, what do you need? And he's like, all right, give me like 4 minutes and so many seconds. And he's gotten pretty much ripped out of his armor because they used the Hulk bot to do that. And he goes into Stark Unlimited to enact his plan. While Janet, of course, is making sure that Soldering is taken care of at the moment. Him thinking that she's like a fairy or whatnot. But she's almost in a kind of pickle situation. But then, of course, Tony comes out in his Mark 1 armor. And I like this. This just goes to show Tony's like, okay, here's the problem. All my tech is too advanced. All right, what do I got that can go toe-to-toe with a dragon and still kind of keep me safe? The Mark 1 armor. And I just love it whenever the Mark 1 armor is kind of brought out and shown how good of an armor it is. Granted, it doesn't have the bleeding tech armor. It's not as advanced, but it's still a cool piece of armor, and I always love it when a callback like that happens. So he goes in, and of course Soldering is like, this is a kind of crappy ass armor. What the fuck are you doing? And Tony's just going ham on him. And bringing up that usually dragons have been taken out with iron. So he takes him down and still kind of starts keeping wailing on him, even though he's out cold. And he's like, hey, he's out. You're good. He's like, oh, sorry. I lost control a little bit there. He's fighting with himself to, of course, tell her about drinking and the escape, but he doesn't do it, and he still berates himself after that, instead saying that he really hates magic. And we're brought back into the point of where this is timeline in War of the Realms, where Rhodey and the rest tell him that the Avengers need his help, and wondering if he's got Elfbuster armor. So that sets up to bringing everything back kind of in line with the War of the Realms. So I really like this issue for the kind of references that we got throughout, and just how it really focused on Tony and figuring out how to solve this problem, and just going through in a nice kind of fun way to fixing that problem. So I really can't wait to see where we're going to be going after the War of the Realms and what the next couple issues bring. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.